Sign up with BetMGM Sports using code CAPITAL200 and win $200 in free bets when you place a $10 moneyline wager on any Major League Baseball game and either team hits a home run. Major League Baseball trademarks used with permission. Visit BetMGM.com for terms and conditions. 21 years of age or older to wager. Washington, D.C. only. New customer offer. All promotions are subject to qualification and eligibility requirements. Rewards issued as non-withdrawable free bets or site credit. Free bets expire 7 days from issuance. Please gamble responsibly. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-522-4700.
Hi there, I am Adam Kirbas, and this is another episode of my podcast where I talk about a lot of things. As you know, those who are interested in this podcast. I'm here in Turkey, in Ordu, in my hometown. This is somewhere in the Black Sea region. We are still in the pandemic. Outside, the sun is shining finally. So those floods are all floods and so on. That some sort of maybe under control. Of course, we will have to see, and we will watch it. We will have some sort of continue. I was talking about the last time about my screenwriting, about my screenplays, literature, invert and lifesaver. Of course, maybe the names are not very ideal, but this is something you can always change. I think the most important thing is your name, because you want to get recognition for your work, as well as, like I said, money. Money is important no matter what people say to you. It is, and that's why we had, of course, a new approach. Well, it is not a new approach. I mean, this is, I would say, this would be saying too much, but I focus in my understanding of screenplays, books, as well as that the target group. So we want to reach readers, followers. We want to some sort of, well, I would not say only make just entertainment, but if you are understand a few key things about how to write novels, as well as, like I said, we talked about it the last time about TV shows, ensemble TV shows, and so on and so on. Of course, you want to write stuff which you get then support by the people, or that people watch it. I mean, this is very important. This is what you are aiming at, of course, and in that sense, you want to reach a lot of people, and this is what people are doing with this ensemble TV shows, where the actors or the actresses some sort of play a major role and a major part in a way to gain support, or in a way to bring those viewers to watch the movies, the TV show, whatsoever. I mean, this is I talked about it the same way as well as how Hollywood is construed. I mean, if you have a listed actor, like in my days, now they are probably already in they are a little bit the older generation, but if you have Brad Pitt, George Clooney, Matt Damon, these are the actors, or if you want Angelina Jolie, and so on, or Julia Roberts. These were actors which were very dominant in my youth, in a way, and every time when they would make a movie or commit to a movie, you would know in a way that people watch this movie because of them, because these are illicit actors, because they have so much appeal within the population and so on. So even though if the movie is bad and so on, you still get the money in. This is what this is all about, actually. So, and in a way, if you make TV shows. This is what you saw or already noticed in Friends, for example. I mean, if you have all these Friends characters, they are, of course, always, or each one of these characters, some sort of, they do not only present some sort of a character arc or so, no, they as well as some sort of speak to people and so on, or some sort of represent their life, their desires, and so on. I mean, this is what you see greatly in Sex and the City. I mean, these are four women in Sex and the City, and then you can really see that. That every one of these women some sort of represent a type of women, represent a type of women outside this Sex and the City world, where still women some sort of associate themselves, can live with them, and some sort of wanna be like them or speak to them. I mean, this is like I said the last time, Breaking Bad may be a great movie, maybe a great TV show, but it does not speak to everyone. I mean, this man who has, in a way, lung cancer, who it was not his fault, and his life was a disappointment and a failure, and then he some sort of starts out to become a criminal. I mean, this is not something which speaks to everyone, or that people might not really be into that. I mean, this is something you have to understand, and this is what we talked the last time. I mean, if you're young, and we compared and talked about Game of Thrones, if you're young, then you want to experience something, you want to accomplish something, or you are more about adventure. I mean, if you're between 15 and 25, your entire life is some sort of ahead of you. You have not accomplished much, or you have newly have the driving license. I mean, when I had my driving license, I mean, this was amazing. This was huge freedom, especially in rural Austria, because in rural Austria, without a car, you are pretty much nothing. And then from there starts everything, and you need then, of course, a car, your girlfriend, first sexual experiences. So you wanna, of course, associate yourself with characters. So if you are young and so on, who some sort of emulate this, who some sort of break out of this, who wanna be like this. I mean, this is what we talked about Game of Thrones. I mean, if you only see the character of Sansa or of Sansa, I mean, this is what many young women some sort of dream of, being this princess, being this woman who has this who has accomplished all this, or this woman who want to do something, or just wants to be this princess, this fairy tale. So her husband to be Joffrey, he's supposed to be this Prince Charming. He's supposed to be this fairy tale come true. Then it turns out to be some sort of a psychopath and so on. So this, as well as some sort, in a way, emulates the first experiences you have. I mean, in a young age, everyone has this. I mean, I talked about it in briefly as well. I mean, with 15, 16, this was my life back then. I thought every woman who would cross my way or my path would be the right one, would be the woman of my dreams, and so on. So you would rather say, yeah, in a way naive, of course, in a way naive, or as well as idle. And this is one that you then see in Game of Thrones. I mean, those who have watched it, how this then turns sour with Sansa. So she sacrifices her father. I mean, this is very important, because her father means something for her, and because her father, in a way, represents honor. Her father is her guidelines. I mean, this is what, if you want, I mean, this is all, if you want to see it, I mean, this is partially, if you want to have a Freudian approach, then you would immediately cry out, yeah, this is Oedipus, the complex. But however, we talked about it in a way that Freudian psychoanalysis is not always accurate, or it some sort of narrows down everything to one point. But however, I mean, if you only see these things, then you have here in Game of Thrones this girl who dreams to be a princess, who knows how to behave. You would rather say, yeah, who played with, I don't know what girls do, but you see many girls playing with puppets and so on. Assumably, this. Well, I don't want to delve too much into toys, what girls and boys play, but you see most women play with toys and boys with cars and balls and so on. However, and if you then see Game of Thrones, yeah, Sansa, she wanted to be just this princess, but then she lost everything, her father, and then she went through a rough time, and so she had to marry this imp who was not a dream man, but in a way, if you want, some sort of understanding. I mean, this is something, of course, you could talk about for a while, why she married this imp, and so what does this mean? So she had to cut short on her dreams. You could partially argue, but this is a approach you have to analyze way broader, and we won't do this here. I mean, this is of course worth. However, and then from Tyrion Lannister's later, she, spoiler alert, marries and this psychopath Ramsay, and then she gets raped. I mean, this is what you would not expect. I mean, if you only see how this journey goes, I mean, this is what you see, this arc. So the first way, in a way, there's this girl who has dreams to be a princess, but her prince is a psychopath who derives pleasure from torturing people. Then she some sort of loses a father figure, the man in her world, because if you recall Game of Thrones, I mean, Ned Stark was in a way this man of honor, some sort of was this father who always guided her. This is what you partially presume, and then he was killed off, so she has no anchor anymore. She has no male role model, if you want, anymore. So this has, as well as a symbolic effect, which then destroyed her, and then from there on, she always, her life degenerates in a way. At first, Tyrion Lannister, she has to marry this imp, which is not really, or which was not supposed to be her prince, true prince. She's forced to do that, and then it becomes even worse when she marries this psychopath. So this is not what she dreamt of. This is not what she thought of. What it be like as a woman, as a princess. And then you see, then in the end, she becomes, I think, even queen of the north and so on. So you see, in a way, this, or if you ask yourself, and this is what you should always ask, to whom would this speak to? I mean, this speaks to mostly to people, men and women who had an ideal view of love. This is what many people had. I mean, everyone, assumably, a lot of people wrote love letters to imaginary friends and so on. So everyone had this, or did not, however, and in a way, you had this ideal almost naive view of a world. I mean, I, for example, always or partially talk about this in my novels as well, because it was so significant for me as well. So this ideal view, so this beautiful love, and so which you imagine, which you think that you would find them in love and romance novels on the TV and so on, and then reality is way different. Reality is not what you have thought it would be. For example, I mean, to explain it very cautiously, I mean, everyone, especially if you are a young man, if you're a young boy, you watch partially porn because you have access to it. Porn is free. However, and then as a young boy, you watch porn, and then of course you have then, or not a young boy, but as a young man, or if you're in puberty, because if you're in puberty, your body will goes through changes, hormonal changes, and then of course you watch mostly as a adolescent porn, especially if it is free accessible. However, and then from this you have some sort of a perception how you would be with a woman and so on. But then when this comes to reality, these things then change. Then you did not expect this and so on. So that is even because we all talk about Britney Spears in the media. There was even a movie from Britney Spears in my youth. I'm not a girl. She even wrote the theme song to it, but I didn't watch it. Well, this is girly stuff. I was not really interested into it. However, but apparently, well, I can't say whether it is accurate or not, because I just didn't watch it. However, but if you, in order to come back to Game of Thrones, so we some sort of see that this is with the theme of Sansa, we some sort of see this woman. So this is what it speaks to, and so this is some sort of in contrast to Jon Snow, if you want. So this is about adventure. He wants to go out, he wants to do something and so on, but then he's trapped on the wall. The same is okay, a little bit different with Daenerys, because this is happens later. But with Sansa, then you see this girl who had some sort of a clear view what she wants. So she wanted love. I mean, these are mostly those women who have read a lot of romance or have this romantic notion and this ideal picture, and then this collides with reality, and then there is some sort of disappointed, and then in the end she becomes some sort of queen. She has to go through all this. I mean, this is not meaning that every girl or every young woman goes through rape, not at all, but this is rather meant for disappointment. This is what many women actually have. I mean, I heard a lot of girls or women talk when I was in school. So that man would be a disappointment and so on. But this is, as a man, you have this as well. I mean, if you are with a girl, then of course disappointment is a big part of your. It is not what you dreamed of. However, and then you some sort of associate yourself with that, and here, in order to emphasize it more, the key element here is that this arc. So this, if we wanna give this emotion, this romance, a name or an emotion, then you would say, yeah, this is a rather about fulfillment. So this is rather about fulfillment. You have a dream, and then some sort of, again, we have some sort of a disappointment. This is where we can make some sort of parallels to Breaking Bad. This Breaking Bad, Walter White. I mean, I talk about Breaking Bad because it is one of my favorite movie TV shows next to Sopranos, The Wire, and Mad Men. However, but if you want then some sort of draw parallels to Breaking Bad, then you have the same theme as well, but in an older age. This is an old man who is disappointed about his life because he did not accomplish what he thought or what he dreamed of. I mean, this is later on. I mean, if you watch the entire series, you some sort of get a notion of Walt, how he was before he became this chemist teacher that he was in his youth. I mean, there are some flashbacks when he was with Gretchen, for example, when he was this very up and coming entrepreneur, so part of this company, and he had goals, ideas, and he was a little bit condescending. He was a little bit arrogant, but it was in a way suitable. It was charming arrogance, and then later he then devolved in this man, in this disappointed man, in his devastated or broken man who did not really accomplish something, and so on. So here again you see this arc of disappointment, and you see this in two life phases you have. I mean, this is if you compare to Game of Thrones, this is in its youth. I mean, this is, you would rather say this is puberty, or through puberty. I mean, you go through this transformation, and you are one of those people who know exactly what they want, or think that they know, and they think that this what they want would be available in reality, would be available out there, but then they get some sort of broken by life because they could not accomplish anything, and so on. So you have there's some sort of similarities between Breaking Bad and as well as Game of Thrones. And again, these similarities are important because people then understand these characters. People like these characters or dislike these characters because in honor you have in Game of Thrones honor, so family is very important in Game of Thrones, especially for Sansa and the family of Stark, and this is what you have in Breaking Bad as well. As I mean, Walt does it partially for the thrill, but he always in a way justifies it, that he wants to leave something for his family, wants to leave something for his children, even though his children, especially Walt Jr., then later, again, spoiler alert, doesn't really want anything to do with him, because Walt then is partially responsible for the death of Hank and so on. I mean, of course, maybe I should not, why it is inappropriate to say spoiler alert when if we talk about Breaking Bad, because the series, I think, well, I don't know how old this series is, but it is already a couple of years old. This is something I recommend. I mean, you should watch it again. This is probably not for something for younger audiences, because it is rather because of this disappointment in life, in order to be associated or understand this point of view. Well, of course, you have to have lived partially so that you can have a feeling of disappointment, but as well as that one thing, of course, this is what we proven with Sansa in Game of Thrones, that this is not just an emotion, this disappointment in your existence, that you don't feel fulfilled. This is something you can feel in your youth as well, if you have a romantic approach to the world and so on. I, for example, write partially my novels about this. However, what I want to talk about, this actually what I wanted to start talking about was, how can we think about this? I talked about a great deal about associating, that people associate themselves with certain characters and that people want to be like them and so on. I will try to talk a little bit about the migrant role. Why do other migrants watch the, those migrants on TV and so on? Again, I cannot really give, if you want, an Austro-German point of view, because firstly, there are not enough, or not, I would say, not enough German or Austro-German movies, and in addition to that, you won't find some sort of a mixed ensemble which you have in many American TV shows. You have this scarcely in German. There is one German TV show written actually by a Turkish migrant, half Turkish, I think, half German, Boradat Tekin. This is a very good, for German circumstances, a very good TV show. This is Türkisch für Anfänger. This is not this means translated Turkish for beginners, but this is not a language course in Turkish, not at all. This some sort of talks about migrant. This is some sort of, in a funny way, in a humorous way, talks about what's been like, what is to be a Turkish migrant and so on. This is the only thing I can think about. However, in a way, this TV show, well, it would not make much sense if I would talk about it, because firstly, many won't know this TV show. I think this TV show you get only in German, and maybe in Turkish, but the actors and actresses, I think only one or two are really Turkish. The rest are from all other nationalities. However, but it would just not make sense if I would talk about this. Of course, it would be interesting talking about a migrant perspective. Well, of course, this is not possible. However, what I want to talk about is partially in Grey's Anatomy, about the representation of black doctors. I did not watch the entire series. I only watched the first 7 or 8 seasons, so I will rather confine my analysis there. I don't know whether it changed later or not, but if you see in the first season of Grey's Anatomy, those who know this series, this is pretty much known. Oh, well, no series. However, in the first season, you have some sort of doctors which are some sort of ahead of their game. This is, of course, the chef, the boss. This is Dr. Weber, and he's black. Then his second in command, Dr. Burke, and then you have Miranda Bailey. So she's some sort of an intern and so on, but very qualified and so on. So now we have to think about one thing, what we talk about here. Why do these people speak to other people? Because you can see, especially in Grey's Anatomy, this is an ensemble. This is an ensemble TV show, which means again that all these actors who play in this TV show are meant to gather viewers within the population, so because you have the Irish, you have the Italo-Americans, and so on and so on. So, or if you only see what character type every one of these actors or characters on the TV show represent, then the goal is clear that you want to have get recognition in the society, in those viewers. You want to make viewers associate with them and so on. So why we have here three black characters, or let's say Afro-American, and they are all geniuses. Well, they're smart, they're witty, they're intelligent. I mean, of course, you would assume you're in a racist society. Well, again, I mean, racism is always a big issue. What is racism? Who is racist? And are there really people who are not racist? So this is all a big issue. But however, in a society, if you only watch in the US, you know that Afro-American, they are not doing as good as white peers or even Latinos in the society. This is easy statistics. This is something you can have easy access to. So there are just compared to white people, and this is of course not in total numbers but in percent. So this means so and so many percent of graduates are black, and this is then so and so many percent of the overall society. So you can never compare total numbers. So you cannot say that 1,000 black students graduated from this college, and then 5,000 white students graduated, and this is pretty much 1/5, you would assume, but you always have to compare this to the overall population. So this is how you make this accurately. So those comparisons, you cannot compare total numbers. This leads to nowhere. No, it is always the percentage. You always have to some sort of readjust your numbers. You have to readjust your numbers to the total population so that you understand what this is all about. However, but this was only short sociology. This is what this is not part. Well, a small excursion. However, but if you only see, I mean, then you see, I mean, this is very difficult to grasp if you're not a migrant or if you are not a black people. But if you see it, Grey's Anatomy, Dr. Weber, Dr. Burke, Dr. Bailey, and so on, they speak from your desire, because in a society, and in a migrant society, I mean, this is what I partially experienced in Austria, or not partially, but what I experienced in Austria, as well as, of course, people think that you're stupid, you're dumb. This is what they told us. That I mean, I talked about this, I think, enough for right now, and I hope that I don't have to talk about this anymore. Hopefully some have understood. However, but if you talk about this that you in a society, there's always this notion that those foreigners, they don't accomplish anything, they are dumb, they are stupid, and so on. Of course, then there is this desire, what you have, I mean, to show them all. I mean, this is what you see among many black communities or Afro-American communities as well. I mean, within the, you would say, North American society, partially. Again, I am not generalizing. I don't say everyone thinks that way, but there is a common held belief that black people, they're some sort of either genetically or racially inept to accomplish the same thing as white people, the same prejudice is being applied to a Middle Eastern man in Austria and Germany as well. So many in Austria and Germany think as well that Middle Eastern man or that the Middle Eastern culture cannot contribute to the German culture or is in a way inferior or whatever. However, this is some sort of this reoccurring theme, so that as a foreigner, or what you have to some sort of endure as a foreigner, that you are not part of it, that you are out of it, and so on. And then you have this in Grey's Anatomy, you have Preston Burke. I mean, Dr. Weber. I mean, he's the chief. He's some sort of this calm man who is in control, and this is of course a desire that you can do it as well, that you can show it as well. Or in Preston Burke, with this is perfectionism. So this is like a machine. You some sort of switch out all emotions that he speaks to you. And as well as another third theme, which is very common among migrants, is that you, despite the fact that you are not the leader, or that you are not in charge officially, but behind the scenes you pull the stripes, and so, or that you are the real doer, or that you are really the one who pulls the strings, and so on. This is of course a perception you have as a migrant, especially if you grew up as a migrant. This is part of your self-view, as well as the desire you want to or have in a society. You want to be this. You want to be, for example, in Grey's Anatomy, this Dr. Weber who is in control, who knows everything, who always seems to be calm, and so on. Then as well as you want to be this Dr. Burke, this perfectionist, this smart man who some sort of maybe was not the smartest, but he put in a lot of effort. This is again speaks to the migrant community, because you some sort of think that you always have to do more. And then of course the Miranda Bailey, that you actually are really in charge, and that without you everything would fall through, and so on. Of course this speaks all to desires, and of course this speaks that you in the migrant community as well, this is what we talked about, culturalism as well, so that you then create a counter culture in a society, because it helps you to survive. This is what you have with body positive as well. So there has, this is actually white people, so mainly white women in a way have created this body positive counter culture, so that being obese or chubby is not bad anymore. It is, I mean, we talked about it. I will not go too much into detail, but that this is positive as well, and this is what you have with migrants as well. And there, right there, if you watch Grey's Anatomy, this speaks to you. I mean, this speaks to you. There's this white man who has accomplished something. Of course, especially with Dr. Weber, you have some this white girl, which everyone has. So this white blonde girl. This is of course a big issue we talked about as well. So that you want some sort of this wife, this Austrian wife, being attracted to her as well. I mean, this is of course a desire you have as well, especially, for example, if you want to think about Middle Eastern men. I mean, in Austria, as well as in Germany or in the German sphere, there's this common held belief that Middle Eastern men, that they're all aggressive, they're stupid, or that they are dumb, or that they have a bad body odor, and so on, and that therefore Austrian and German women would not be or cannot be enticed by Middle Eastern men and so on. But then you then again show them, no, this is not true. There, look, I have a woman who fell madly in love with me, and then I dumped her, and her world broke apart. Yeah, well, you somehow enjoy this, of course, and this, of course, some desire you have that you are not this consider this applicable foreigner, which apparently no one really wants to hang out with, and only those who really hang out with you, they do it for self pity or egoistic reasons. This is, of course, something you well partially perceive as well. I mean, this is what I have perceived in a way, partially. So, especially with elections, I mean, some people, they just want your vote and they give a rat's ass about thereafter. However, but here again, you have this desire, and of course, then is another thing which we talked about in not so in detail in culturalism, because this is part of culturalism, despite the fact that it is about skin, but you have there are pretty much similarities between those between the migrant approach and black Afro-Americans. However, what one thing is, what you always have this assumption is that you always feel as a migrant that this is something, some sort of a theme or ground theme of your life, that you think, well, if we would only get the chance, then we would accomplish. Well, if only we would get the opportunity, then we could do it, then we could accomplish it. Then this wouldn't be a big problem, and so on. So this is what you have here as well. So this is with Preston Burke and this perfectionism. So this means that if you only get the chance, you could accomplish everything. You could put in a lot of effort. You could put in a lot of time and resources, even though if you're not the best trumpet player or whatever, but with your dedication, because you are hungry for success, you could do it. You could successfully manage this. This is again swings with it that you some sort of become part of it, and so on. And then the third is what you see with Miranda Bailey. I mean, if you watch the first couple of scenes or the seasons, if you want, there one key moment is when she and when Miranda and Derek talk about their past and so on. However, and there it is revealed that Miranda was some sort of an outcast. She was not really liked. She was not really part of a group or something, especially a group of white or part of the white groups and so on. And this is again something which again speaks to migrants as well. I mean, that you are some sort of an outcast because those groups, either if they're Austrian, French, or Italian, or whatever, Spaniard, so you are always excluded, or you think that you're excluded. There is, of course, a cultural difference. This is what you can partially notice with Turkish für Anfänger in this TV show, which in a funny way tried to bring this together, these cultural differences. However, there it plays a crucial part as well. And there with Miranda, then you some sort of gain this desire that you are still, you are part of it, but you are behind the scenes, and that you are some sort of everything comes together with you, but it is not very visible, so that you are in fact really part of it, but behind the scenes, and that you are very important, so that without you the group would fall apart. So this again brings you into through, if you want, through the back door that some people have not quite understood how important you are, and they in the end realize it. Okay, this was for today. We will continue about this topic the next time. This was Adam Kirbas from Ordu in Turkey. We are in the pandemic, and I hope that you take care of yourselves. Bye.
There are more ways to celebrate than ever before at the Jeep Celebration event. Hurry in for great deals today on the only brand that lets you go anywhere and do anything. And right now, get $1,500 total cash allowance on the purchase of a 2022 Jeep Compass Latitude 4x4. Don't miss this great offer. Go to Jeep.com to find your local dealer. Hurry into the Jeep Celebration event today. Residency restrictions apply. Must take retail delivery by 5/2/22. Jeep is a registered trademark of FCA US LLC.